have an opportunity of the #1 ranked player bowling the #2 ranked player in the world in the second match. However, this first match is two toughies, Mark Williams and Deadeye.
Here's the handshake now. They are not related. 34 total titles in this field of 5. Each pro at least one major title. Mark Williams. All right, his best finish this year was 6th in the Quaker State 250. Grand Prairie, Texas now. Walter Ray. And the two-time player of the year gets a break on the right lane.
Walter Ray Williams, 5-step delivery, just won a great natural ability, crossover steps. Watch his footwork. That sets up his head in a real smooth vertical position. Watch how he comes straight across, no pull up at the line. And that's one of the keys to being a great player. Keep that head in a constant position throughout the hit area or the lifting area.
Champion in 2 sports. This and horseshoes. World champion 6 times. The champion is a person, too. Has his mark from Beaumont, Texas. Strike up. High hit, nevertheless, Nelson.
Chris, he does get a good break as he trips a 4-pin. 4-step delivery, very simple for Mark Williams. He looks at his ball, sets his hand, holds his wrist in a very contemporary cup position, and then he'll drop down on that pivot step coming straight through as he drives off very hard, directly towards the target. Look at that real good follow-through. Mark is one of the most versatile players we have on the tour.
One of the 4 300 shooters this week here in this championship, Mark Williams, now with 3 in a row. Double up shooting in the 3rd frame. He gave Mark a little wink on that last strike on the right lane for Mark. There's another one for Walter Ray, Nelson.
Well, they're perfect, Chris. We watched them warm up, and nobody was striking. It has not been a high-scoring environment. In fact, the cream has really come to the top this week as we have 5 outstanding champions in the championship round. So, Walter Ray perfect. Let's see how he's attacking the championship pair. Pretty standard. Almost like a lead bowler, not using much power. He's going to be right in this area. He's going to be just inside that first arrow with a serpentine approach, then right over the first arrow.
This 9-pin on the left lane. Let's replay it.
Well, just too much toy. 16-pound reactive resin bowling ball cutting through 3-pound 8-ounce pins. They do not respect the weight of the ball, the power of Walter Ray. The 5 is chopped off the 9. Bad break, easy spare.
One of the great spare shooters on the tour, Walter Ray Williams Jr. against Mark Williams. We're in Baltimore, where, you know, a seat on Federal Hill offers a view of the ice rink at Rashfield and the entire Inner Harbor area, which has been restored. Beautiful. Headed toward the halfway point of our very first game of the Greater Baltimore Open. Mark Williams, Beaumont, Texas, going against Walter Ray. Wonderful matchup. 3 in a row, 4th frame. Didn't get the same break that they had in the last shot in the right lane, leaving the 4-7.
You're right, Chris. He was just about a 1/4 inch higher on that hit, and he breaks down the 4-7-10. In the 2nd frame, he tripped out the 4-7-10. He'll have an easy spare and trail Walter Ray by 1 pin.
Tips galore coming on our telecast each week, including yours, Bo, Choice Hotels, and you watch these Giants cover spares. You can learn from that, can't you?
Well, plus one thing, Chris, being really good players, they get a lot easier spares to shoot at. When you're only shooting 9 or hit 9 counts like that, as we had a little light dimming here, must have taken a power hit. And
that'll loosen him up. Look at Mark.
You know, that's hard to do to stop. 4-step delivery, middle of the 2nd step, the apex of the backswing, and how can he stop like that with that ball in his hand? That's good concentration and discipline. Resetting himself, trails by 1, 5th frame.
This is his first telecast for 1995. Gets a 5 from his opponent. Nice shot. Needed that.
I like Walter Ray's swing thoughts. See, a lot of players talk about their arm swing or whatnot. As you see Walter Ray coming right inside the first arrow, he's going to leave the half 10 on this. Walter says, I know what I want to do, I feel it, and I have no thoughts on the way to the foul line. That's wonderful.
Okay, close game right here in the first. Next Saturday at 3:02 Central, ABC Sports rolls north to New Jersey. That's right. Hall of Famer Johnny Petraglia hits the hometown lanes hoping for a perfect game at the tournament that bears his name. That's next week right here, ABC Sports, 3 Eastern, 2 Central.
They're rolling the Vietnam Veterans Pro-Am tonight up there at Johnny's place. One of the outstanding features of that tournament.
And those good guys can roll those strikes, as I saw in their national championship when they came to Fort Wayne, and Al Utak was so gracious to me.
Well, he's the dude in that Vietnam crew. You see Mark Williams playing the big hook. He's going to swing it right in this area. He has a better carrying ball than Walter, but he has more room for mistake. And there it proves it. Walter repped the 10-pin on that particular shot when he was up there in the 5th. Mark Williams takes it out in the 6th to take a 10-pin lead in a very entertaining match as we start off the day.
That had to be a Delaware tribe scout.
Well, you know all the Indians around here, Chris. I don't know which one came across.
I think it was a Delaware. Maxine Lewis, our publicist, came in from her home in Delaware, so we'll credit her. Another beautiful hit. Again, 3 in a row for Mark Williams, jumping out now to a 20-pin lead. Yesterday, here in Baltimore, Mike Scroggins, Steve Jaros, and Don Mosier took a walking tour of the historic streets of nearby Annapolis, the country's oldest state capital, in continuous use. Chris Schenkel at Country Club Lanes in the Baltimore area, where we've come for 21 years out of the 34. Good to be back, and it's probably the most entertaining head-to-head match that I've seen in years. Total respect. These two pros. Big double for Walter Ray Williams. Another respectful pro, Bo Burton.
Hey, Chris Schenkel with me, the #1 player in the world, and we have a rarity coming up if Walter can win this match. #1 against #2. What do you think?
Well, you know, #1s don't pay the bills, and it's not going to help me today. If it's Walter Ray I have to bowl, then I'm sure I'm going to have to bowl 270, so I'm prepared for it.
You told me last year that #1s are made to be beaten. You're #1.
Well, same goes for me, too, I guess.
All right, Chris, interesting match going. Back to you.
Oh, it really is. We're back to all even. Robert Way, these two were exchanging pleasantries, and I mean that. They have such respect for each other, and they're both so talented, kidding each other about the luck they may or may not have had. Another solid 9. Mark Williams, Beaumont, Texas. He's 37 years old, 6 championships.
We've already seen this shot once, Chris, and once again, the solid 9 is all the players have been in the pocket every shot. It's just who's got the good breaks so far.
Mark Williams, a great year in '88. Every year has been darn good for him, but he won $140,999. Television finals 7 times. First this year, it's his 31st total appearance.
Mark Williams playing a little bit tighter line on this line. He'll still be right around the 3rd arrow, playing the big hook, has a possible 257 game here.
Tonight, it's a great ride on the ABC family movie. Pee Wee Herman stars in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Then Jeff Fahey stars in an all-new episode of The Marshal. That's all tonight, 8 7 Central, ABC. The right lane.
Well, Chris, right now, Walter Ray Williams going at a 2:37 pace. Mark Williams, 2:37. Possibility the first tie of the year. Once again, we see a 9-pin, but not quite the same kind as previous shots. The 2 had to take out the 4 to avoid the split.
So it's a spare in the 9th for Walter Ray Williams, a strike in the 9th for Mark Williams. This is the first game. Best performance thus far for Walter Ray was a 5th at the Showboat. 71st. There's Paige Pennington, his fiancée.
Best chance we've had at a tie game all year. Both top players going into the 10th frame with a possible 237 if they get spare strike situations.
The Earl Flynn is the PBA, as I call him, in looks only.
Deadeye has a possible 247. 2 more strikes. He cannot shut out Mark Williams. Mark Williams can bowl 257. He will control his own destiny. However, if Walter Ray strikes here, the possibility of a tie goes by the way, 237 goes by the boards. Ooh.
Are these great finishers or not, Nelson?
They're the best. That's how they have to get there. Walter has always proved himself in the clutch. In 1993, won back-to-back tournaments on ABC television, throwing 3 strikes in the 10th to win the title match. Once again, he's proving he's tough in the clutch, but Mark Williams is no slouch sitting on the bench.
So there's a 247 for Walter Ray Williams.
Boy, and that last shot was a key shot. That forces Mark Williams to throw 2 strikes to win. He needs 2 strikes and 1 pin. Anything less, and Deadeye goes on to meet Norm Duke. 1 against 2. Here we go.
There's 1.
Boy, these players show their experience. Under the gun, just nice and smooth. Mark waits for the ball, and just cuts it loose. Needs this strike to win the match.
Right lane. Eased up a little.
It's going to be a 247, 246 victory for Mark Williams. Chris, we're going to have a first ever number 1 against 2.
You mentioned 1 and 2.
Well, Chris, Norm Duke is rated number 1 in the world. Walter Ray Williams at this present time by the computer is rated number 2. First ever next match. Going heads up.
A 1-pin victory as this ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message and a word from our ABC station.
ABC Sports coverage of the Professional Bowlers Tour. Brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels. Prime Star, we bring satellite television down to earth. And Splitfire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more until you use it.
Yes, in Baltimore. Those 1-pin victories are phenomenal. 1-pin losses are terrible. 247 for Walter Ray Williams, Jr. A few moments ago, Bo explained why he's ranked number 2 in the world and Norm Duke number 1. We're here in Baltimore, the birthplace of Babe Ruth, who was number 1 for a long time, wasn't he? Well, we're going to go up close and personal now and show you a little more. You get to know Norm Duke a little better. The young man originally from Texas, now from Edmond, Oklahoma.
Hello, I'm Norm Duke, Professional Bowling's 1994 Player of the Year.
What a year it was for Norm Duke, winning 5 titles and nearly $300,000. But his first bowling goal wasn't to become Player of the Year.
I said, someday, Mom, I'm going to be on television. I'm going to beat the great Earl Anthony. And lo and behold, I was 18 years old, and the very first game on television was against Earl. So looking back now at all the accomplishments that Earl has gotten, and for me to be able to win against him is just something that now I cherish.
Defeating Earl Anthony, and 9 titles later, Norm and his wife Karen, his constant companion, spend time together on the road and in Edmond, Oklahoma. When he's not competing on the lanes, Karen tests his skills on computer golf, a more friendly competition.
The most memorable win would be the very first tournament in Cleveland. The most cherished event would certainly be the General Tire Tournament of Champions in 1994. That was and still is the pinnacle of the tournaments on the tour. And it's most close to my heart. I'm no superstar or a prima donna. I'm just Norm Duke, and I bowl pretty good.
Crowd loves him. They're always giving the Duke. There they do. They're starting it now already. Look at the difference in size. Proving that bowling, you can be any size, shape, form, age, and do it. Maybe not as well as these two, but this is 30-year-old Norm Duke. His best this year was 8th in Reno. Winner of an ESPY. Not long ago. Look off to his right. One takes a crossover. I don't think he had a chance. He thought that he didn't have a chance, but Butch Soper's marked an X up there on our score sheet. Walter Ray. He is mic'd for sound. So let's see how he'll shoot the 2-pin after the light hit. Here's a replay. He may have slipped a little bit. No alibis for this guy, though, I'll tell you. 2-time Player of the Year. So it's a strike and a spare, and Walter Ray, disgusted, will move over to the left. Country Club Lanes, 40 lanes. Owned by Dennis Baldwin. Prominent figure in the bowling industry for a long time.
That's not very good.
I agree. Seems like he's rushing his shots a little bit here. So now he'll have to try to cover the 3-6. High hit result. Ooh! Chops the 3 off the 6. Watch.
That's pretty good.
Close counts only in horseshoes, which he excels at as well. Now Norm Duke. With that double, he's on top. Here's Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Mark Williams, very entertaining first match. Somebody had to lose, and it was you. Did you wear out Walter Ray?
Well, I obviously didn't wear him out. I was one shot away, though. I was really undecided starting the match which ball to throw. I think I picked the right one. 246 is a pretty good score, but Walter Ray's really tough.
How about these two guys, number 1 and 2? Pick a winner. Although Duke's off to a quick lead, can Walter come back?
Well, Walter can come back. He's been bowler of the year twice, and it helps to get a game under your belt. Norm's a little shaky the first frame, made a real good shot in the second frame, but it'll be a good match, I think.
All right, back to you, Chris.
3-bagger for Norm Duke, whose high game this week was 278, low game 162, finished 3rd. 39th TV appearance. Now 35-year-old Walter Ray Williams. And the graduate, Cal Poly, still trying to get that strike. He had 9 in his 247 win over Mark Williams, 246.
Chris, Walter just can't get untracked right now. Had a little delay, maybe used up a lot of energy in that first game. And Mark Williams told me on the side during that break that this right-hand lane hangs a little bit, as you see the 10-pin, and the left-hand lane hooks a little too much. So it's up to Walter to get untracked and really start coming from behind here.
How do you whip a hang?
Well, how you whip a hang spot, and it's very common in the sport of bowling. Chris, you can do a couple of things. You can throw the ball a little bit slower. That's what Williams decided to do, although he didn't win the first match. Mark Williams, that is. Or you can go a little straighter towards the pocket.
Okay.
Walter will make a decision.
Change that much quickly.
You know what could have happened to him, Chris? It often happens when you get keyed up for one match. He played both lanes the same and just threw superior shots and didn't recognize that the left-hand lane's hooking a little more than the right. Now he's slightly confused, and Norm Duke has the edge.
All right, we're in our second game. Numbers 1 and 2 ranked in the world, Norm Duke and Walter Ray Williams. We'll be back with the number 3 player. After 42 games, Norm Duke has 3 in a row, 4th frame. So now he leads by 44 with the great Walter Ray Williams. Here's Bo.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Dave Traber, you had a good week, but are you at all intimidated about the prospect of either bowling the number 1 player in the world or the number 2?
No, that doesn't affect me. As long as it's not my brother, that's all I'm hoping for this time, and I know it's not. So I look forward to bowling good in this match. It's going to be a tough one, but I'll enjoy it.
All right, Chris, he said he's bowling the best he has all year long. Let's see what happens in the semifinal, but a lot left in this one.
Look at that. 5-bagger. 5-bagger for Norm Duke. Walter Ray Williams. Spare, open frame, spare, spare. Now in the 5th, trailing by 54.
Come on.
Let's listen. All right, graduate in physics, Cal Poly. So there's another spare.
Asking for one of his 2 allotted re-racks in any championship match. Right now he has to get untracked. He's probably taking that re-rack just for a little pause, a little 20-second timeout, because he has struggled. He has not been around the pocket here in the first 5 frames, and he trails the number 1 player in the world, actually the man he's chasing, by 55 pins.
Look at that, Dave D'Entremont, the halfway point of our winter tour, 86,000. Scott Alexander won PBA last week. Just Stayworth, Spalding, Houston. No. Finally, in the 6th frame, Walter Ray pats himself in the back. Good job.
Norm Duke has struggled all week long with getting the his bowling balls to feel comfortably in his thumb. I watched him last night. He'd fiddle with the tape, take a piece in, take a piece out. What he actually does is put tape underneath a cork gripper to fill up the hole, make it solid. Now, you don't want it too tight, but you want to just be able to hold it smoothly. Well, we're looking at the number 1 player in the world, and I'll just show you what it looks like. 6-step delivery, 6.5, a little shuttle step, all rhythm. He's paid his dues. He's bowled all over the world against the best for years, and he just has everything in perfect position. Watch the key of the left arm pulling back as he drives through and squares the shoulders directly up to the target on balance of the line. And Chris, he's halfway for $100,000.
AC Donko has put up the challenge. He needs 6 more.
Tightening that thumb hole once again. You don't want it so tight you feel like you're going to hang in it, but you don't want to squeeze it.
Frank Golan in Detroit is probably saying, go get it. AC Donko. 4, 7, 10.
Well, Duke goes right through the middle there. As you see right here, ball going there. He wants to set up, cuts through the middle. Ouch. Now, he can make that. He can slide that 6 over in the 7, but he's looking at the scoreboard. Should he go for 9? And he just might because the match game situation. That's exactly what he did, Chris. Right now, he's the 235 pace. That's the best Walter can bowl.
Walter defeated Mark Williams 247-246 previously. We'll be back. Our tournament leader is another Californian named Eric Forkel. You'll see him in the last game for the Greater Baltimore Open Championship. Taking a practice shot, Walter Ray Williams holding up here on the right lane. Walter Ray needs a strike here in the worst way.
If I've observed one thing about Walter over his decade of bowling out here in the Pro Bowlers Tour, Chris, is he's most dangerous when he's behind. And it looked like he had an insurmountable lead when Norm Duke stood up there in the 7th frame with 6 in a row. However, that lead, as Duke continues to fiddle with his thumb hole, has been cut down to just 40. And it's a possibility that if Walter takes it off the sheet 235, they'll be all squared up. Look out, here he comes.
He lost his balance, nearly fell over the line. What an athlete. He is 6'2", 180 pounds.
What he does when he first wakes up in the morning, Chris, 50 push-ups right out of the chute, strong as they can be. Now let's see if Norm Duke, the #1 dude, can recoup.
5'5" and 123. Coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Paul Wiley, Victor Petrenko, and Kurt Browning heat up the ice in Japan. It's the men's competition at the Fresh Look World Challenge of Champions. Then it's on to Colorado for World Cup snowboarding and off to France for freestyle skiing. It's coming up next here on ABC's Wide World of Sports, which we've enjoyed being the lead-in show for all these years.
Yes, we have, Chris.
Infinite variety of sports, right?
You bet. Norm Duke going with a straight shot. Look at this, straight up the lane. You don't even have to do anything like this. He's just simple shot, letting the lane do the work, and he can retake a 50-pin lead with a strike.
And he leads 3-6. 5'5", 123.
Nothing is more unnerving than not having that thumb hole feel good at the bottom of the swing. Here Duke tries to go straight up the back of the ball, gets a little tug on it, and as we said, the left-hand lane hooks a pinch more, and this has become a very interesting match. Duke going at 235 pace, Walter Ray off the sheet, it would be 235.
You know, just a couple of weeks ago, these two professionals were at Radio City Music Hall as ESPN presented their ESPY Awards. And John Goodman, the host, made some great comments about bowling. Norm winning the ESPY earlier in the evening.
Well, the stage is set now, partner. Right now, Walter Ray has come from the depths to have a chance to get right back in this match. Another strike here, he'll force Duke to mark. A double in the 10th, the match will be even. The two best in the world, one had a big lead, the other coming from behind. It's all down to the 10th.
Come on, baby, come on, yes.
Love those wireless mics.
Great players throw their best shots in the clutch. That was Walter's best shot. Right now, he can square this match up as a nervous Duke looks away. Boy, that's tough when you get caught from behind.
You know, with his 15 titles, this man has finished second 22 times.
Well, Chris, right now, this is a big match for Walter. Not so much the title. He's playing against the guy that took his #1 ranking away, and he set up a situation right now that whatever Walter does, he forces Duke to do. If Walter strikes on this shot, then Duke must strike spare to tie. That forces Duke to strike on the first ball, 2 strikes to win. And you know what? Walter Ray just tapped Duke on the back, and the message is go do your best. And that's good sportsmanship, but it comes down to right here, Duke needs at least 1.
Remember, Walter Ray didn't get his first strike until the 6th frame and then strikes out.
He was trailing by 65 pins. Now his opponent needs this strike. If he doesn't strike, he loses. Needs this one. Ouch.
Another 9 on the right lane.
Chris, that crosses in the match. Norm Duke loses this match by 1 pin.
He opened with 6 in a row. Look at that. They're just reverse situation. Open with 6, he closes with...
Yeah, but this shouldn't happen, partner. Not when you throw it. You're the best in the world. You throw your best shot for all the wheat, as we say out here, and he gets 9.
We've had how many before?
Unbelievable.
The first match, we had 3 or 4.
Yep, solid 9.
On the right lane. That is a disappointment. Oof.
You talk about entertaining matches. That first one, 246 to 247. This one's going to be 235 to 234. But what a comeback. Walter Ray's always been known as more dangerous when he's behind, and he proved it here. One stick.
7 strikes in a row to close him out. What a match, what a match. Bitter disappointed for Norm. Player of the year. This week's Trust Hotel's Tip of the Week spotlights the advantage of using a lighter ball.
ABC Sports presents a winning never gets old bowling tip. Brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels.
Wow, what a terrific shot. John, you converted that 310 baby split. That ball deflected right over there. What weight is that ball?
A 12-pounder.
A 12-pounder. It sure helps to make those splits like that. If I was using my 16-pound ball, however, I would have to just nip the outside edge of the 3-pin to get that 16-pound ball to deflect into the 10. Now with John's shot, you can see him with the lighter ball hitting almost solid on the 3-pin. He has more margin of error. The ball deflects over in the 10. Now the seniors can all learn a lesson from this youngster. With a lighter ball, you get increased speed, more accuracy, and better percentage of making your splits. Remember, winning never gets old.
Look for future ABC Sports winning never gets old bowling tips. Brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels.
We hope you're with us from the very start. This telecast, look at that first match, 1 pin. Look at the second match, 1 pin. Winner the same, Walter Ray Williams Jr. As we look at Dennis Baldwin, a friend, the proprietor, who's done a great job here, and in all of bowling. The Yachtsman, Dennis Baldwin.
All right, Chris, as we look through some of the top 24, Roger Bowker's had a great 1995. Butch Soper, our steady statistician, in 7th. Wasabi, great release. Haran coming up there in the number 9 spot, defending his Splitfire Championship in a few weeks. Leto will be defending his Bud Light Championship in Sayville a couple of weeks. Parker Bone will be home next week. Tommy Baker, new daddy. Del Ballard's looking sharp again. Duluth's, his daddy's proud of him. Chris Warren, he's entertaining. The Big D. Tricky, 17th. Doug Kent practiced 500 games in the last 2 weeks. He's ready. Bruce Holland, a local, one of the Scroggins twins in there. Mr. Cool, Billy Oakes up there 2 weeks in a row. Hoskins, Rookie of the Year. Eugene McCune had a perfect game. Mark Bowers round out the top 24. Chris, couple good weeks coming up.
That's right. There certainly are great ones because we return to North Brunswick, New Jersey. We get to see Lee Livingston at his lanes, Caroler Lanes for the Johnny Petraglia Open. That's a week from today. And then 2 weeks from today, the Bud Light Championship, Stony Brook, New York. That'll be an arena finals. So we hope you'll be with us. That's not far from Sayville. So we're in the New York area both weeks. We're in the Baltimore area today on the Chesapeake Bay. Walter Ray Williams has won the first 2 matches, each by a single pin. David Traber, Woodstock, Illinois, is back in to go against this man. Closed with 7, opens with 1. David Traber, 6-footer, 180 pounds, 32 years old. PBA National Championship at Imperial Lanes, 1994. A 2. Here's the only player to have bowled all 30 events last year, and he's bowled in all 8 this year. That in itself is very important. We'll tell you, follow up on that. But first, here's Bo Burton.
Thank you, Chris. The man he never lost that last match. It was just kind of a bad break. The #1 player in the world. Your thoughts on what I think is one of the best matches we've ever had?
Well, I just categorize it as poor shot making. Walter Ray struck out in the last 6 or 7 shots, and he performed in the latter half, and I didn't. And I'm real upset about my performance, and I'll be back, and I'll remember things like this. With that, I'm just distraught, and there'll be other weeks.
Norm, thanks for coming down. I believe you're the best player in the world right now, and you proved it, and you'll be back other weeks. Good luck.
Thanks.
That's a given. They'll meet again, too. Just a laugh. Wow. Okay. 2 and sleeper 8 on that troublesome right lane again.
It's a tough spare that Walter handles as well as any of the players on the tour. He goes nice and straight at it, just tries to have the ball carry out both the 2 and 8.
Beautifully done.
Well, Chris, a lot of players like to throw the big hook ball at that with not trusting their accuracy, feeling that the big hook ball will take out the 8-pin.
How did you like to shoot it?
Well, Chris, I wasn't quite as accurate as Walter Ray. I opted for the hook ball if there was a dry air on the right, but if there was oil down the center, I'd like to go straight at it. Right now, Walter is off to an even match.
I had mentioned that David Traber had bowled in all 30 events last year and the first 8 this year, but Harry Sullins holds that record, 239 consecutive from 1986 to 1993. Well, at least he broke up to 710, some consolation.
Wow, that ball hit the pins hard. Synthetic lanes, they hold the energy of the bowling ball. Phenolic pin decks, which are non-wood pin decks, they also increase the pin deck action. And Traber gets a very bad break as the 5-pin shoots right over the top of the 7. Match will be even with this conversion. Chris, an interesting statistic I ran across this week that the 10-pin used to be the toughest single-pin spare in the sport of bowling. However, with the disproportionate amount of oil they put in the center of the lanes in recent years, the 7-pin is now the toughest spare to make. So you got to get it a little more pull across the center. His wife, Melissa, looks on to the match.
Three, 6.
See a little top shot here. He gets his hand over the top of the ball. We've always talked about how important it is to keep your hand underneath the bowling ball. When you get over the top, your arm gets away from your body. You go left to target. The ball drifts high. He avoids the split, ends up with the 3-6 spare combination.
All right, we're in the semifinal match, and we'll be back with more of it following this. Annapolis, which is about 50 miles from Baltimore, has a naval tradition. Here, our trio of PBA stars seek some directions from a midshipman. Standing room only crowd, Country Club Lanes, Baltimore. Walter Ray Williams against David Traber.
That was too rough. I knew that. Wow.
One of my favorite words. There it is. 2, 4, 5, 8. Not to be taken lightly.
Good for it.
All right, Nelson.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Eric Forkel, the tournament leader and also a left-hander. Do you watch the lanes or do you watch your opponent to make a decision what you're going to do?
Well, considering they're both great bowlers, I'm just kind of watching the way the oil is changing on the lanes. Since I'm the only left-hander, they shouldn't change too much from when I bowled on them earlier, but that pair is a lot tighter on the back end than the pair that I'm bowling on. So I'll have to make some adjustments off of that.
All right, Chris, he says he's going to get more finish than the righties. The championship match is coming up. Back to you.
And nothing but close matches. 1-pin victories in each of two by Walter Ray Williams, who's seeded. And here, a 2-pin difference as we're near the halfway point. David Traber with a spear-up shooting in the 5th. First title being the PBA National. First and only national title, but he has 9 regionals to go with it. His best thus far this year was 15th at the AC Delco.
All right, we can see how Dave Traber is up playing on the right side of the lane, a very straight shot. He's got a straight approach. He'll keep that right shoulder in line with the target right over the first arrow. And he throws it a little too hard. It's throwing it right through the break. It's just like a putter putting a golf ball through the break. He's afraid it's going high, so he gives it a little extra juice, sails a little bit farther down the lane, doesn't get the wall shot, the head pin off the sideboard, leaves the 4, and he will trail Walter Ray Williams Jr. by 2 pins after 6 frames.
David Traber. Now back to Walter Ray, who closed with 7 in a row to eliminate Norm Duke by a pin.
He struggled on this lane, though, Chris. He's had 25 shots, and he's only gotten 5 strikes on the right-hand lane. So this is a key lane if he's going on to victory.
Still a problem. Look at it. 210.
Well, our tournament leader, the lefty Eric Forkel, said it. His oil is carrying down the right side, and so what happens is that Walter tries to get the ball to break, come back a little bit, but it hangs, and forces the ball past the breaking point, ends up with a 210 split.
And that open frame puts him 10 pins behind.
That's where he seems to do his best bowling, though, doesn't it, Chris?
Right now, from now on. That's where he started in the last game.
You're right.
7th frame. There he is. Okay. The semifinal game underway. We'll return after this. Maryland Avenue down in Annapolis is packed with antique shops, galleries, and if you need help, there's also tour guides. You're looking at a portion of the Country Club lanes in Baltimore, Maryland. David Traber, spare up.
Well, David hasn't had anything really good happen to him in a match other than breaking up a split. He's hit around the hole every shot but one, and once again, he doesn't carry. He's using a lot of speed, holding the ball on line and trying to avoid that hang spot. Hits light, blows the 5 over to the 7. The 6 does not chop out the 10. Right now with a spare, he would lead Walter Ray by 9.
Stock car racing fan supreme. Dale Earnhardt is his hero. He restores, rebuilds Chevelles and Camaros.
Something to watch for in this match. Every time Dave Traber has not won the tournament, Chris, the opponent goes on to win the title. Now we'll take a look at Dave's position. He's in this zone here, perfectly straight. I mean, he throws a rope down there using a lot of speed, keeping it in play. And just doesn't quite get enough angle to carry the 10-pin. You'll see this. It's about a 3-degree angle to the pocket. Right here, a 3-degree. Now you take a guy like D'Entremont who gets about a 6-degree angle to the pocket. He's not as good at as many 10s. He'll drive the 6 either the sideboard or directly in the 10. D'Entremont with that 3-degree angle. Dave Traber does not have the high carry percentage.
Bad marks with the spare here at Country Club Lanes.
key shot for Walter Ray. Lane 25, that's the left-hand lane, 15 strikes, 26, just 5. He needs this one to take the lead.
Come on.
Walter Ray, next Saturday at 3-2 Central, ABC Sports rolls into the Garden State for the Johnny Petraglia Open. That's next Saturday on the Professional Bowlers Tour here on ABC Sports.
My good buddy Johnny turned 48 yesterday.
Happy birthday, John.
Getting up there. As Traber looks on, Walter Ray, key shot for him. He struggled on the right-hand lane. He'll have to finish on that
Hurt.
Boy, what entertaining matches, Chris. 1-pin differential in the first 2 matches, and here Walter Ray can put Traber on the ropes, as you see a ring and 10 here in the 9th frame. So it's up for grabs. Anybody can win it. A 1-pin differential again. 3rd straight game. Oh, that ball hitting the thumb hole just kills the shot. Good technique.
And you hear the ball pounding the lanes off to our right. That's the tournament leader, Eric Forkel, waiting to meet the winner of this game. First game today for David Traber. Spare up, 9th frame.
Disappointed. Stuck a little bit at the approach, but he really stayed with that shot, fanned it a little bit, and roped it right in the hole. 4-step delivery, very anxious. Shoulders a little bit forward, so he slides in, or he catches his left heel as he slides into the approach right in here. Stands up on the shot, but you see his arm fan the ball, but he gets it to the hole. Real good ability there. Gets a bad break, solid 10.
Cross lane spare for David Traber.
Traber right now trailing by 2, Chris, needs 2 strikes to take the lead over Walter Ray Williams Jr.'s semifinal game.
We have to congratulate a 70-year-old named Nora Martin of Gallatin, Tennessee, earned a place in the record book with her recent 300 game in the Nashville City Mixed Tournament.
Oldest lady to ever bowl a sanctioned perfect game.
Best looking strike of the afternoon. Of course, it's only his 3rd.
Agreed, Chris. He's throwing a lot of balls into the pocket, but he picks this lane to finish on. He was the higher finisher in the tournament. He won to finish on the left-hand lane. It hooks a little bit more in the right-hand lane. Throws his best shot, and right now he can take the lead in the match.
2 members of the Motorhome Brigade, both Walter Ray and David, go from stop to stop in their comfortable homes on wheels.
Well, he put it on Walter right there. Walter Ray Williams and Dave Traber. There's really no love lost between these 2 players out here, too, Chris. They travel in those motorhomes, and they're quite competitive. So he's made it where Walter must throw a double.
It's a 203 for Traber.
Walter Ray Williams needs 2 strikes and 7 to win and go on to meet Eric Forkel. Anything less, he finishes 3rd.
And on the right lane.
What an unbelievable break. Watch this pin action. The head pin's the key pin. It's going to go to the left sideboard. At one time, you're going to see the 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8 standing there. The head pin gets between the 4, knocks out the 8. The 8 falls into the 2. Has put Walter Ray in a position where this strike and 7 pins, he wins the semifinals. He must strike. Dave Traber wins, and I'll tell you what, Traber, look at this. There's no love lost between these guys. There's been some bad blood a couple of years ago, Chris, and it carried over into this match. Traber wins. He's going on to meet Forkel.
Almost a fist-like victory gesture,
yes,
but more.
There's more to this than sits out there in the lane.
We got a 10-rounder here, maybe.
Well, there's 2 heavyweights out there. I don't want to pick a winner.
I'll do play-by-play.
But Traber wins the match.
203 to 197. This ABC Sports presentation of Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Let's recap the afternoon. 1-pin victory, Walter Ray Williams over Mark. 247-246. Moving on to match 2. Another thriller, all champions. Duke eliminated by a single pin, 235-234. Match 3, David Traber comes in and defeats Walter Ray Williams 203 to 197 in a tense match. So, final coming up, it's Eric Forkel and David Traber.
Well, Chris, the scoring environment is going down. The average for the first 2 games was 240. It dropped to 227 last game because the oil is carrying down the lane on the right side. I think Traber has his hands full with Forkel.
So this is for the Greater Baltimore Open. Look at the field we had here today. All 5 major title holders.
Marquee players, and they've proved it in every match. Every match has been tight, a couple 1-pin victories, and right now we're going for the title. David Traber, who's got a national championship he won in Toledo, going against Eric Forkel, who also won the national championship there. Title match.
Appreciative crowd. So a 4-7-10 is the greeting.
Boy, tough way to start. What he needs to do is get that ball over in the 4-7 zone and slide that 4-pin over into the 10. He's got to get it right across. And it's just like this. Get that 4-pin, slide it over in the 10, Chris. Much more difficult for a righty than a lefty. Gets 9 out. Now, why I say Eric Forkel has the advantage, obviously he's bowled better than the other players in the 42 games all week. He's a proven champion. And also, as you see the 4-7 being taken straight back, 9 out for Dave Traber. Also, the oil has not carried down the left side of the lane, so he should get more break and more swing on the left side.
With his wireless mic on, we may hear a comment or two.
Changing balls, using one ball on the right-hand lane, another ball on the left-hand lane. Interesting strategy. Forkel, a bowling technician, does everything by the textbook. Has one of the real great coaches, Len Mel, out in Arizona. Guy who trained Dave Davis, one of the all-time greats.
Had a great comeback after the California earthquake where he had a lacerated left foot and he missed the first 5 last year. Tenacious 34-year-old with 3 titles.
Traber having the same trouble that Walter Ray had. Now, what do you do when the oil carries down the lane as you see the ball sliding by, leading the 2-8 spare? You either have to get more angle attack and shove that ball right up to the head pin, and that's where Traber's real good speed and small hook can be of benefit to him. He can make that adjustment. It's hard for a big hook ball player to make an adjustment with a big oil carry down. And that's once again one of the reasons I said that Eric Forkel has the edge. There's not an oil carry down. He'd be the only southpaw in the telecast today. He has a free swing to the pocket. He's open with a double and has a commanding 21-pin lead after 2.
David Traber with his first strike coming in the 3rd frame of this championship match. Eric Forkel opened with a double.
Eric Forkel, just the full grip, tucks that baby finger in there, uses the index finger to balance a shot straight up through the ball. And there's the difference of the oil carry down. Right there, if there's oil carry down and 2 or 3 other lefties in the telecast, he leaves the 3-9 spare. Here you see a terrific shot of it. Now this shot's well executed. He goes right on straight through, right to his target line. However, this ball with a lot of oil carried down would slide by, leaving the 3-9. It pays dividends, however, and he gets the wall shot and has opened up a commanding 31-pin lead championship match. That wasn't a normal four-letter word that we see used in vain. That was he's begging that ball to flip. Hook a little bit more. It did. He left a solid 7. You see how he got there through 42 games. The first 3 rounds, 18 games of qualifying, then 3 rounds of 24 games of match play. Forkel, the leader, leads by 30.
And he hung on last night, winning only 4 of 8. But finished ahead of David Traber by 76 pins, and that's what counted to get into the championship match. Today's championship trophy sits inside a local eatery, offering, guess what, crabs and a view of the harbor. Traber here at Country Club Lanes, who eliminated Walter Ray Williams, trailing by 30. His strikeout. Now he trails by 20. Championship match. Well, here's Bo with a great champion.
Thank you, Chris. Walter Ray, just a fantastic day. You started off terrific, and then it kind of slowed down there in the semifinal.
Yeah, all of a sudden I lost the right lane. It just kept going straighter and straighter for me. I kept trying to make an adjustment, but it wasn't working. In the 8th frame, I just moved my feet back left and just moved my target way left and lined it up, and it worked. And I thought I threw it the same way in the 10th, but I guess I got a little speed on it, and it just didn't hook up. Got the break and got the strike, and then 11th shot I tried to do about the same thing, but it's, again, too hard. So.
Well, you bowled really well today. I have to ask you one question. It didn't look like there was any love lost between you and Dave Traber out there going into the game. Some emotions going around?
Well, we both want to win. That's obvious.
All right. He was pretty condescending and pretty gentle, but and very political. But back to you, Chris.
Another 9. Okay, spare in the 5th frame, 78 through the 4th for David Traber in this title match. Eric Forkel now is up. Spare working, shooting in the 5th frame. 21-pin lead. Disappointing 7 for Eric Forkel.
Well, Eric's not going to get the ball out of play. His forte, as you see, the line he's taken to the pocket, just about the same as Traber's, just inside the first arrow on the left. And both players are control players, not a lot of power, hit the pocket, depend on single spares, and to string some strikes here and there and stay in the solid 200s. And how about that mistake? You know, when you're sitting on the bench, Chris, and Traber's struggling a little bit, a guy goes up there and can get a strike in the 5th to really put you on the rope, leaves the 7th pin, and then throws it that poorly at the spare shot. It's a shot of adrenaline. There's a replay. Misses by 1/4 of an inch, but that's might as well be a foot. Right now, he only leads by 9.
Unlike a lot of other sports, in bowling you can't recover. You can in golf, you can in a lot of other sports. But you blow one here, you never get it back.
That's where Traber has to go to the whip. He's given an opportunity. Now's the time to go.
Oh, the whip, we are in the area of the run for the black-eyed Susans. You've got it. Pimlico.
As you see Kurt Pisano and his dad Chuck to the right of the screen. Kurt, the general manager here, and Chuck, a PBA Hall of Famer, longtime historian on our executive board.
John Travolta, look-alike his son, who graduated from the University of Miami. Chuck, arguably best bowling writer around.
Right now, Dave Traber can take the lead for the first time in the championship match with a strike. Look out. Chris, the machine stops the action in the 4-pin, and the bowling rules, even though the pin does stay up, nice job there by the pin setter. However, if that had been knocked over by the machine, it would have had to been set up. Here you go. You see the head pin go to the sideboard. It kicks the 7 out. The 7 comes spinning around the pin deck, and if it had caught it just in the dead belly of the pin, it had driven it over. Now he has to remove that pin from the left-hand corner. They're doing that duty right now as Traber gets a little break here. Spare, he'll trail by 9.
Oh, I wonder what it is. Today I've seen more talking between the two competitors than almost any time ever.
I think, Chris, a couple of reasons. One, we've had 7 or 8 weeks under our belt. They're in the same environment. They're all tuned in the tour. They're atop of the games.
Okay.
Secondly, these guys are all champions. As we showed a graphic earlier, they've all won major titles. They're familiar with this championship scene. They're not that nervous. They just have the adrenaline flowing.
Hit it on the button, my friend.
Eric Forkel, 3 strikes, a 7-pin. 7-pin misses it. Strike, another half 7.
It's going to be a hard-earned victory, isn't it?
For somebody, that's for sure. Spares will make the difference. Strikes were the story in the first 2 games. The spares are the story in the second 2 games. Here in the championship match with 4 frame left, they're all important.
I have a friend in the D.C. area named Ron Walker, always bends down like that at the line when he finishes a shot, Bo. It's hard on the knees, isn't it?
Well, not when you're young and in shape like Eric Forkel.
Yeah, but Ron's not young.
Forkel just trying to get some nice moisture in the thumb hole, heat it up a little bit, makes it feel real good as you get a hold of it. Now he's just taking a standard position. You just see almost a straight shot. He's developed a great technique in his game, a good arm swing, keeps the ball in play. Wow.
An 8.
Well, we've seen 3 or 4 solid 9s, as we mentioned. It was the undoing of Norm Duke in the match against Walter Ray Williams Jr., and you see the opposite for the lefty, the solid 8. That's a hit you could not leave in our sport up till 3 or 4 years ago, Chris. The pins seem to move much easier, and reactive resin bowling balls definitely impart more power to the pins.
So now it's Traber back up, spare in the 7th, shooting in the 8th frame of this championship match. Sliding by, leading the 5.
Had the 2-4-7-8 standing at one time. The head pin will do the damage. Watch it go to the left sideboard. It's a terrific break, taking out especially the 2 and 8 pins. They're the culprits that make that difficult. Chris, can you recall any single week where all 4 games, I can't remember a separation in a match of more than 10 pins other than the Walter Ray Duke match, and Walter Ray closed the gap and it was a 1-pin victory.
But I don't remember when we had such an afternoon where the first 3 were as exciting as it could possibly be, and I don't find this one exciting at all. It's even close, but...
Well, it's coming to the 10th frame, that's for sure.
Right. Good performance. His 4th strike of this match, David Traber. But changing conditions can bring that about where it's most difficult.
This line actually hooks a little bit more for the left-handed player. He's going to be right in here. Instead of being over the first arrow, he's just going to be inside of it a little bit closer to the second arrow. He's coming up the 9th frame.
His 5th strike of the afternoon.
Well, we have the solid 9s and solid 8s that come in the game, but they come back in a little more different way. Here's a lucky strike. Once again, he trips the 3-pin off the sideboard with a head pin. He needs 2 strikes and 2 pins to win the match. I know his mother, Eleanor, is on the men in the hospital and is looking on. He wanted me to say hi to her and his daughters, Heather and Erica, and they're rooting for Daddy to get 2 strikes. 2 will lock it up.
Come on.
Ranked 6th by the PBA. We had numbers 1 and 2 on earlier. Walter Ray and Norm Duke.
Talking to the sideboard, official scorer Kevin Shippey off to the right. He says, what do I have to get? And he needs 1 strike and 2 pins. 2 pins, no problem. The strike is the key. Biggest shot of the week, right here. Right now, he's opened the door for Dave Traber to win the match. Eric Forkel can spare and shoot .214. Dave Traber now needs a strike in the first ball in the 10th, the second ball in the 10th, and 8 pins to win. We also have a possibility of a tie. Every match down to the last ball today. All right, Dave Traber. He's got a second life against Walter Ray Williams Jr. in the semifinal match. Now comes up with a chance to win the tournament. 2 strikes and 8 pins wins. Anything less, it's a loss.
Look at that skill on that tough right lane, David Traber.
Well, this is what separates the touring players from the also-rans out here, Chris. I see thousands, literally, in 20-some years out here who had the ability, but can they throw it under pressure in national television? Somebody says, how do you practice for that? I says, there's only one way. It's like having somebody with a gun at your head, and right now, Traber needs a strike and 8 pins to win the tournament.
Now, Bo.
8 pins to win, 7's a tie, 6 is a loss. Right up the ladder. Now, what do you do when you need 8 pins and you know a lane has a chance to slide by? Chris, this is one time I think you got to edge your feet about 2 boards to the right and throw a rocket right at the 1-3 pocket and hope you don't go high. He can't take a chance on sending it wide. What a victory.
Tough competitor, as we've seen last year at the PBA. Gets a warm handshake from the runner-up, Eric Forkel, a kiss from Melissa, his wife. So he has won his second national title. David Traber, we will return to Baltimore. 217 to 214, Eric Forkel, $18,000 to the winner. Get this, the margin of victory today, a total of 11 pins. As Dennis Baldwin is down on the floor, along with Kurt Bazzano, Melissa and David Traber are the victors today. Congratulations to them. Next week we'll be at Carolina Lanes in New Jersey for the Johnny Petraglia Open. For Bo Burden, all of us at ABC, I'm Chris Schenkel. Goodbye.